Pressure just feels too much effort.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of SOS ID. I don't think I've talked to you about the name of this show yet, have we? So I'll do that here in a second. But I'm joined by my good friend Tyler. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about him and his background, where he came from, and then we'll probably get into some topics on depression, PTSD, veteran issues, that kind of stuff. But background on the show name. SOS ID. SOS is kind of shorthand for Salt of the Streets, obviously. ID is actually, well, actually both of these things are like double entendres. ID is actually named after, it's the initials of one of our friends who watched the show, who gave us the idea to do this actual particular show. And I'm not going to remember off the top of my head exactly what his names are. It's one of Donovan's good buddies he grew up with. But the whole concept is, essentially, we are discussing men's issues, men's mental health issues, basically so that people that we talk with, people that are listening and watching and stuff like that, have a chance to maybe have an outlet. If they're going through some stuff, they can identify with stuff. They'll have a community they can get around to talk about the stuff they're going through before essentially it gets to a point where they have to shoot out an SOS because they're in a bad situation. So that's SOS ID. You're the second guest ever, so welcome, good sir. So who are you and what do you do, my friend?
My name is Tyler Hull.
Shout out Tyler Hull, the man with the beard.
Hull, like the hull of a boat.
Indeed,
Like
or a ship, but that's cool.
Yes, not butthole.
No,
not HOLE.
it's just like Colin and Colin.
Yeah.
It's a thing that happens.
Oh man, I never even thought about that. Colon.
Oh yeah.
Hull.
Oh yeah. Our mutual friend Ronnie the other night was she was trying to get my attention or something like that, and I wasn't listening because I was listening to somebody else talk, and so she just started to call me Colin. And I was like, the fuck? That'll catch my attention.
That's when you start calling her Roni.
Indeed, I did after that.
Hate it.
Indeed. So now everybody's got one.
Pasta-roni. You know what? Matt got her a box of pasta-roni.
Oh yeah.
Because she was like, "That's not how you say it.
Yep.
It's Ronnie."
And now we keep it up in the corner.
Yep.
I remember because I guess she works with somebody. I can't remember exactly how the transfer went, but Matt came up with the idea, and then her friend or his friend bought the box and gave it to him to give to Ronnie, and it was just, yeah, the day of the transfer took place was pretty fantastic.
That is great.
But Matt's also got one. If you didn't know, his name is Matthew. If you want to piss him off.
Matthew.
Oh yes,
God,
indeed.
I hate it. I hate it.
So we've all got one. We just need to work on yours now. Maybe Hole. Butthole.
God.
Tyler Butthole.
God, in school it was like T-butthole.
Yeah. T-hole.
It was T-hole. And then, like, people were like, oh, if we put a butt right before that, it's really funny.
I like it.
It's dumb.
It's a good thing you never make me mad. Otherwise, I might have to use that.
In middle school, it was Tubby, so...
Middle school.
Tubby Tyler, yeah.
Fuck. Well, I want to ask you about that. But what is it? What do you do now?
Now, I am a commercial brewer.
Mainline all of your beers, basically. I do.
Yeah, you're... I mean, you probably... between you and Matt, you guys probably pay like a quarter of my salary.
Probably. Hey, we appreciate you.
I appreciate you keeping me employed.
That's how it goes, baby.
No, but I am the assistant brewer for Echoes Brewing Company.
We drink a lot of their beer on the show.
That's good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that there's tin tackers on the wall from Echoes. So I appreciate that.
There's only a couple of them. I got a couple more I haven't put up yet because
it's like,
it's
like I'm at work now.
Yeah.
It's like I'm hosting bingo night.
Pay attention to the German beers up top. There you go. Just watch those.
Go, yeah.
That'll make you feel better.
Yeah.
That's from a advent calendar I did last December. The Costco beer advent calendar they put out every year.
Yeah.
And they do it in conjunction with some German company. And so they get all these really nice German beers. And I did, for whatever was wrong with me at the time, I decided it would be a good idea to record an episode doing a beer review every single day in December as I went through the advent calendar. It lives on our YouTube page on its own private playlist, and it is cringe. You could see how it was like trying to figure out what I was going to do for the first like couple weeks, and then it got to the point where I was just going insane, and then shit got wacky and wild. Highly recommend everybody check that out if you like beer. It's terrible.
You gotta. I don't know if you've checked out a couple drinks on Facebook, but you should check out our Crystal and I's reviews we did when we were on the bus.
Oh, that'll be good. And is it just on Facebook?
Yeah,
Okay.
just on Facebook. We started to consider branching to YouTube, but then like we got to a point where we didn't have good enough internet. So yeah, which is hilarious because it's Advent calendar season right now,
And we're in the middle of it.
because of that, out of nowhere, like a couple drinks is getting like 20, 30 views a day.
Let's go.
Out of nowhere. Just like people are clearly Googling
Yeah.
like Advent calendar beer reviews or something. And we're
I
coming
should
up.
check my views and see what happens.
Yeah, it's so random.
That is interesting. Any chance on a couple beers having any kind of resurrection?
Yes. We've definitely thought about resurrecting a couple drinks and
Any
something
idea
that
what that
we
would
love
look like?
doing. Honestly, we didn't pigeonhole ourselves by like calling it like a couple beers or a couple shots or anything like that. So we can do anything. Like we can drink anything. So we've thought about doing like not just beers, like doing like whiskey reviews and doing scotch, bourbon, vodka, tequila, stuff like. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I'm ever gonna fuck with like tequila,
Dude.
vodka.
Oh man, don't
bourbon.
sleep on the tequila though. I have a very fine selection of bourbons and whiskeys, and I love them. But a couple years ago, I was on a fishing trip. It's a big family fishing trip I do with my best friend and his family, and one of the guys, call him Uncle Gary. He's not my uncle, nor is he my best friend's uncle. I think he's his great uncle or something like that. But I've known him my whole life, and he's a big tequila guy. And so we're all sitting around the campfire one night, and he just hands me a red Solo cup of ice and with just straight tequila in it. And it was like a Hornitos, I think, just a clear Blanca vodka. And I took a couple sips off it, and I was like, holy shit, this is actually really good. And now I'm a tequila man. I like to just sip a nice tequila.
I'm kind of just not a spirits guy in general, but if I am having a spirit, it's going to be
Brown. Yeah. It's kind of like your taste in beers. You really like darker beers.
No, I do love darker beers. Okay,
You don't really
you're not
discriminate
wrong.
that much, though.
I don't discriminate, but
You just really like beer.
I love beer. And I love dark beers. Do have a really special place in my heart. Who knows that? I love. Okay, I shouldn't say dark beers do. I gravitate towards like barrel aged dark beers. I love
Complexity.
a proper bourbon barrel aged stout.
Yeah.
And bourbon.
Yeah, it goes hand in
pretty
hand.
much it.
You can have a bourbon with a bourbon barrel-aged stout chaser, you know? Bloop. Yeah. Oh. Whoa.
Bomb.
Let's go, dude. I'm trying to think. I feel like I've done that before. Is there a name for that? I'm just thinking Irish car bomb, but that's with Irish cream and Guinness, and highly overrated.
I mean, honestly, probably a bad idea.
Yeah, it would be.
Bad name for it.
But bad ideas are sometimes good.
Yep. Oh, like that reminds me of actually these guys, Burning Barrel. They have
That's my pickle beer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my god, so good.
I love that stuff.
They have a neon sign in their tap room that says "Pour Decisions." P-O-U-R.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh, that's just.
That's a name of a
It's
brewery
perfect.
right there.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'd be really
is a good
surprised if
brewery
there's not a brewery name.
There probably is. There's probably
gotta be.
beers named Pour Decisions too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There has to be.
There has to be. There's probably a dozen of them.
Pour Decisions Pale. Pour Decisions Pale.
That's a poor decision. Don't be calling it. It has to be better than a pale. And you can't also do an IPA, I don't think.
Or it's a beer that's just it was a bad decision to make it. Like poor decisions, peppermint pilsner.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, it does.
Please don't
terrible.
ever make that. We should give Rob that idea, put it in his head, and fuck around with it in his homebrew.
100%.
Yeah, like, all right, Rob, we got a new beer for you to try out. We'll talk it all up. You got to trust us. It's going to be fantastic. Poor decisions, peppermint, pale. Oh,
or pilsner.
Oh,
make it
dude.
even worse.
Yeah,
there's
dude.
nothing to
Lager
hide.
That shit.
There's like almost no hops. It is just like pilsner malt, minimal hops,
With
and
some
peppermint.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
It's like Christmas, but not.
Dude, well, how long have you been brewing? How long have you been in the game?
I have been
Should I say professionally at this point?
professionally 3.5 years, I think.
And it wasn't all here, right? It wasn't all at Echoes.
I brewed at a brewery called Bar Hop in Port Angeles. It is like, it's a
Top
terrible
quality.
name. It's a terrible name. There's no explanation for the name. If you ask anybody, they're just like, no one knows why it's called Bar Hop.
It's just called Bar Hop, bro.
Like, Bar Hop. It's like that's like a thing you do when you go to a new town. You go bar hopping. Like, why would you call your brewery Bar Hop? But
It'll come up in the Google search.
we shockingly made some decently good beer with what we had. It's like a 30-year-old brew system.
Oh, wow.
Like a
Small volume?
7 barrels. It's not too bad.
Okay.
But 7-barrel system from Specific Mechanical out of BC, which is really funny because...
As in, like, British Columbia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm on a 20-barrel Specific Mechanical system that's only like... I don't know how old it is, actually, to be honest with you. 6-7 years old?
It was probably when they built the facility, right? And that wasn't that long ago. I don't know how much they would have moved up there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was all brand new in there.
Yeah. Does it look like it could have been brand new 6 years ago? It could be hard to tell.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be like 4 or 5 years old, something like that. But
We'll have to discuss with the elders at some point.
yeah, someday we'll talk to Mark about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, about 3.5 years now, and absolutely love it. It's a damn good time. It's the best job
Yeah.
by far. Like I'm gonna be sad, like not commercial brewing, but I'm hoping to make up for that with like home brewing. At first, since we're in an apartment now, I'll be home brewing at friends' houses like Rob and whatnot. So getting out of the brewing game is going to be a little tough for me, but
It's tough for all of us.
yeah, you'll be all right.
I mean, we'll have beer, but your presence is also half the deal.
But I definitely will not be there anywhere near as often.
No.
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 Which is
Not
gonna
even.
honestly, it's gonna be a good thing overall. Like, sure, I won't see everybody as much. We're all still gonna hang out, still be friends. But like,
Come around a
being
little
there-
bit more than Matthias, though. A little bit more than
yeah, yes, I will, 100%.
If not, I know where to find you.
My problem is just like the temptation is too strong. Like I get off work and it's like, oh, shift beer. Like
And that leads to...
and then hanging out and then people come in.
Yep.
And because I'm super social, I hang out and have more beers.
Yep. And then that one thing leads to another, and next thing you know, we're closing the place down or something.
Yeah, or something.
Or something.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, I've definitely also noticed that, like, I'm 38 now, going to be 39 in February, and alcohol is definitely having, like, an effect, like, on me and my body.
Oh, dude.
And my mind.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Oh,
Like,
for sure, dude.
This has been in the last like year, honestly, has been like I'm reading up on like cortisol levels and stuff like that. I didn't realize that When you drink alcohol, your cortisol levels are significantly higher.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like the depression molecule, right?
Yeah. And when you also, not when you, but also night owls, cortisol levels are, don't quote me on this, but your cortisol releases like at night, like in the middle of the night when you're trying to sleep. And when that happens, your heart rate comes up, and if you have anxiety, panic attacks, or anything like that, it heightens your anxiety.
Yeah.
And or just causes anxiety. Like I'll just wake up like anxious, and I can feel like my heart beating in my throat. And
you wake up like in the middle of the night sometimes.
Yeah, it's usually like just waking up too early. Like it won't be like I sleep for 3 hours and I'm done, but I'll sleep for like 5 or 6 and I'm done, and that's not enough. Like I'll wake up at like, it's usually between 3 and 5 a.m. is when I'll just wake up, and it's like, I don't know, like when I'm laying there, I'll test. It's kind of a weird test, but like, you know when you're tired and you know you're tired, your eyes are just, they're heavy, and you open them and they want to open slow every time because the muscles are giving out in your eyelids.
Yeah.
They're like tired of being open. So I'll like open my eyes, and I'll do that a couple times, and I'm like, they're just boop, boop, just popping open, and I'm like,
it should not be happening.
Damn it. And it's just like at that point I know I'm like awake, and I'm done. Like I can't sleep at that moment, and I can usually feel like my heart racing too.
Oof.
So I'll just like put my Bluetooth headphones on and just like YouTube for a bit and wait for that heavy feeling in my eyes to come back. And it usually does, but sometimes it takes like 2 hours.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're getting like an hour or two nap max, and then you got to get back up and do it all over again.
Yep.
And then actually get up and take a shower and get into fucking work. And
yeah.
Oof. Yeah, that's tough. It's definitely something, especially as I'm getting older as well. And the increased beer intake specifically is, you notice it big time.
Yeah.
It's makes you drag big time, and because you're not sleeping well, and it just compounds, and any kind of underlying anxiety, which I think both of us struggle with to different levels, for different reasons. It takes a toll on you, man.
Yeah.
Usually by the time Thursday rolls around, I am dead. Operating all day just like on autopilot, just waiting to try to get back and get some sleep. And then, of course, you got to hang out on Thursday, meeting up with some friends. Next thing you know, you're not getting to bed early. Had a few beers that night too, and the cycle repeats. Yeah. And if I'm lucky, by the time I hit Saturday night, if I'm a good boy Saturday night, I'll get a decent night's sleep, and that's the one night a week I'll get. Yeah. Not a healthy situation. Yeah. I should consult Dr. Huberman on that, see what he's got to say about all this. God. I think he's got a couple really good episodes on cortisol and alcohol and stuff like that. Need to refresh that.
Well, I mean, and aside from the anxiety effects and everything, like I would say 99% of the carbs that I intake are beer.
Oh yeah,
because
it's definitely not good for the waistline.
I'm eating like 99% carnivore.
Yeah, except for beer.
Except for beer, which is
tough.
Completely counterproductive.
Yeah.
Granted, I do feel, ever since going carnivore, I feel significantly better. Like all around, like back pain's much better, overall inflammation's better. Yeah. Even my anxiety has like improved. Like
that's good.
But
it'll only get better when you start cutting back on that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I think like once I am out of the brewing game and I'm at Lockheed, I think I will probably at the very least just like middle of the week, no drinking, and try to keep it very minimal on the weekends.
Yeah.
maybe even just like switch to like whiskey or something like that.
Something, yeah.
Like something that can keep me like, I shouldn't even say switch to whiskey. Like I don't drink beer because I like to get buzzed.
No.
I don't
just really like beer.
I very much. I'm like, I love trying new beer. Like this Ecliptic Oktoberfest. It's fantastic.
Good shit.
It's not as good as our Oktoberfest, but you know.
Especially this year's.
Yeah, I know.
I tell you, I had a retro Oktoberfest from last year's batch.
Oh.
Yeah, Rich, who's belated happy birthday again. We just were at last night. He has kept some since last year. And I was over at their house one night, and he brought one out, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's such a different beer too. It's a lot more
malty.
It's a lot more malty, but it's got more bite to it.
Huh.
It's strange, but I'd be interested one day if he still got some. Do a blind taste test of the two, and then really get like your notes on them. That'd be really interesting.
Like a vertical.
Yeah.
Just of the two next to each other.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
Oh. We need to, and since we're speaking this into existence,
indeed,
it's
manifest.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
That sounds good.
While you're editing this, you'll have a reminder.
Yes.
And you'll be like, Tyler, text Rich and tell him, hey,
let's do it.
Let's do this vertical tasting.
Because that would be fucking fun. Okay, before we get further down this, I did want to ask you some more questions about your past. So how long were you brewing before you got into it professionally?
I brewed a few homebrew batches, like the better part of like 10 years ago, and then like peppered a few in there. But what really got me into commercial brewing was I took a part-time job serving beer at the tap room for the brewery that I ended up working at for Bar Hop.
Okay.
And I was doing construction part-time, like almost pretty damn close to full-time. And then I was serving beer in the tap room like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
So I was almost working 7 days a week, and which was crazy working in the tap room because I think my minimum wage, I made minimum wage, and it was like $13.75 an hour or something like that.
Oh wow.
And
it's a tip game at that point, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I like average twice minimum wage, even in Port Angeles, like in a small town with a brewery / tap room that's like out of town at the airport. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah.
Kind of. I was like, I don't remember seeing it, but I don't go up there that often.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of a destination spot.
Yeah.
And it's not like a frequented airport. That's not. No. It's not like a it's not an
international. It is an international.
Technically.
Technically.
But yeah, you're not catching any flights from from Denver. Big commercial airlines coming in there. That's not happening.
No.
Not
I don't even know what they can support. Like, I've seen some like G3s to G6s like land there,
but P-jets.
But I think I'm almost positive that actually Air Force One has landed there because I think Obama came out for like the removing of a dam.
Oh,
it was like a big deal.
Obama,
I guess.
Yeah. Well, we're saving the salmon, bro.
Yeah,
super. That's what we do.
Super excited about.
Shout out to Patty Murray and Marie Canwell, bro. Doing everything they can for the salmon.
Yeah, right.
Spending all our money.
What money?
Ay. And before, so you said you're about to be 39.
Yeah.
So
Lord.
Obviously, brewing hasn't been most of your life.
No.
What did you do before that?
And
you know what I'm trying to get to. Like,
yeah.
You were in the military at some point.
Yeah, I graduated from high school, took a year off, and then
where did you grow up, by the way?
Port Angeles, Washington.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in Port Angeles.
Relatively local boy.
Born and raised there.
Okay.
Didn't leave until I joined the Army. And then went to... I got stationed in my first duty station. Well, my only duty station was Fort Carson, Colorado.
Nice.
I was in 4th Infantry Division. And I was a commo guy, and
Commo being like comms?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you could teach me how to use all my radios?
100%.
Perfect.
Yep.
I need a radio guy.
I got you.
The Bofangs don't program themselves.
No.
I am. It's like there's like a mental block I have about just understanding that world. It's
I got
weird.
you. I got you.
Good. We'll talk.
All right. So yeah, I was a commo guy, and I did 2 tours in Iraq. My first tour, I was attached to a field artillery unit. So I was with my unit, with 3rd Special Troops Battalion, 3rd Heavy Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division.
Dude, good pull.
So
what year are we talking about?
I joined in 04, deployed 05.
Okay.
For a year, and then I actually joined on 4/21. That's when I signed paperwork. Was
Gotcha.
4/21, and then deployed shortly after that.
So it's like GWAT time, Global War on Terror.
Yep.
Yep. So
I
you
have a
GWAT.
Global War on Terrorism medal
There you go.
and the Iraq campaign medal, like ARCOMs and shit like that. But
Okay.
so deployed from 05 to 06. Then
Actually in Iraq?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. First tour was on a base called Warhorse in Bakuba. But then I got attached to a field artillery unit to run comms for their unit. And then that was 329 field artillery out of the same brigade.
Okay.
And which is crazy because I got stationed there with a guy that I went to high school with.
Huh.
Like, we graduated together. Like, rad dude. Just, like, happened to get stationed at Fort Carson together, too.
That's
We did
wild.
not know we joined the Army
Yeah.
almost at the same time.
Didn't go through MEPS with them and all that good
Nope.
stuff, no?
Not at all.
That's funny.
Absolute trip.
That's wild.
But, yeah, and then we ended up stationed in Balad together on LSA Anaconda. And, yeah, I did dismounted patrols with the field artillery unit, and that was pretty terrible. It was hot.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
It's before they invented sheath underwear.
Yeah. Dude, we would like
What up, Kit Kat?
go through
She just does this sometimes.
it's fine.
What up, girlfriend?
We would I remember one time we had some, well, we'll call it intel from kids
Oh, yeah.
whose most likely fathers buried shit in this, I think it was a lime orchard. It was a lemon or a lime orchard. I know that.
Good climate for it, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
Meow, meow.
So, after giving these kids a decent amount of American cash, Gerber knives, Oakley eye protection, they basically pointed us down one of the like access roads in this orchard and sent us.
Sorry about that.
You're fine. And then we went, basically we spent the next like 4 or 5 hours sweeping it with metal detectors and, oh, hi, I'm going to put you down because your butthole's in my face.
Yeah.
But then we swept and we found this old box of like pineapple grenades.
Oh, shit.
Like, it was, I shouldn't say pineapple grenades, it was pineapple grenade casings and the primers.
Oh.
Like a pineapple grenade kit. They just needed the like the actual
Charge that goes
the powder, whatever explodes inside.
Whatever goes boom.
Yeah. And we found a ton of det cord, probably 1,000 meters of det cord, just rolls and rolls and rolls of it. And then detonation plates, like the sheet metal that they would put across the road. that the det cord would be under, so when an MRAP rolled over it, that metal would complete the circuit, and it would blow up like a deep earth bomb. So they would bury, and that's another thing we found. We found multiple giant oxygen, nitrogen tanks, those kind of tanks, like the big ones, that were just like tops cut off. And what they would do is they would pack those full of whatever would go boom.
Yeah. And
they would connect that to their detonation system and run it under plate they'd bury it like 5-6 feet underground in the middle of the road.
Oh, jeez.
So the whole idea was that would disable the MRAPs, because the MRAPs were mine resistant, ambush protected. That's what MRAP stood for.
Just can't do a giant hole in the dirt.
Yeah, and if they get buried, that's basically, they would cause them to end up in a hole. Mm-hmm. Now you're stuck. Yeah, can't go anywhere.
Fish in a barrel style.
So because they were having a hard time, because they had the V holes on them, so they couldn't just explode something directly underneath them, because it would deflect and they would keep rolling. But they figured out how to disable them by putting them in a hole.
Yeah. Yeah, real low-tech solutions like that usually do the trick. Doesn't take much. And so tell me more about when you first deployed, when you first got over there. What was your first impression of, you get off the plane, I'm assuming, and you get hit with this giant heat wave, and you got to acclimate to your time there.
We got there in the middle of the night, so it wasn't too bad. It was probably oh man,
desert's good cold at night.
It was almost my 21st birthday. I definitely remember we weren't even we were in Kuwait when, I think we were in Kuwait. No, we were in Iraq, but we were still in there's multiple kind of hubs / bases that you go to en route to wherever you're going to end up. Mm-hmm. Taji was one of them. And I think we were in Balad, my first deployment, and it was days before my 21st birthday. And we get there, it's nighttime, it's very dark, and it's 70, 80 degrees. It's not bad. Mm-hmm. But LSA Anaconda was also nicknamed Mortaritaville. And
joy.
The thing is that the likelihood of you ever getting a mortar on to Anaconda was probably impossible. Okay. It wasn't going to happen. They had the first of all, they had that, I think it was called the C-RAM. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what it's called. The automated radar, it would fire 100,000 rounds a second or something like that.
Yeah, and I know on ships they usually have a C-Wiz. It's a similar type of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So that worked very well, and you'd hear that off in the distance. It was crazy. You just hear this, and you would see a pillar of tracers.
Yeah. Go
into the sky. It was pretty amazing. But on top of that, the actual meat of LSA Anaconda, the built up portion, was in the middle, and then there was such a buffer between, you'd probably have to launch a mortar on a almost flat angle to even get it close. But and they had FA surrounding, they had paladins and all that shit.
So nobody was trying to fuck around, really.
No, but you would hear the mortar alarm go off all the time. I remember getting there, and within a few hours, we're just sitting on the ground, on our bags, just waiting to basically get processed into this temporary housing spot.
Yeah.
And just the alarm goes off, we all got to get up and get into all these concrete bunkers, just concrete squares.
Oh yeah.
That were tilted on their side, and you just got in there.
You just hung out, waited.
Waited for the alarm to stop.
How long of a process was that? Was it pretty quick, or you hear the alarm and then it's a half hour until everybody gets to go back? And
that was probably like 5-10 minutes.
Okay,
wasn't too bad.
Not too bad. It definitely fucks up the flow of the system, though.
Yeah,
trying to get
you're trying to get in process.
Something. Yeah, man, that sucks.
Yeah,
something that should take like 2 hours could take all day.
Yeah,
that sounds fun. You know, I remember. I was maybe talking to another guest we had, our buddy Brian. He was at this base somewhere, and it might have been Afghanistan. But he showed us this thing where there's, like, in the center of it, it was like a big soccer pitch, and around it was all, like, these stores and restaurants and all this shit. And it kind of blew my mind to see, like, KFC and, like, Taco Bell and all that shit. Did you guys have that stuff at your bases?
In Balad, 100%, yeah. LSA Anaconda. That one had, like, Pizza Hut, Domino's, a nice PX, and...
Yeah. Does it taste the same?
I mean, honestly...
Might as well.
Yeah.
It's probably all flown in from stateside anyways.
And you're in Iraq. Like, you're just happy to have those creature comforts.
Yeah.
They have Subway.
Eat fresh, bro.
Yeah, right. It was a very weird dynamic.
Yeah. A little bit of Taste of the West in the middle of the desert, in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yep.
Some kid right out of Pacific Northwest, and all of a sudden, here I am.
Yep.
That's weird.
Yeah. Very weird.
Does it fuck with people after a while? Or do you just kind of get used to it?
You just get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it becomes like, early on, like, your mind's doing a lot of racing, and you're like,
where
wow,
the fuck am
I'm
I?
here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in Iraq. And then give it, like, a few weeks, and then it just starts to feel like you're at work again. Mm-hmm. Because, honestly, like, the politics all come into play again, and then
you're just like, doing the Army thing again.
Yep. Yeah. You're doing all your bullshit PT, and
you're inspections,
doing patrols, and like, it's just.
So talk me through, like, a typical. I don't know. Did you guys have liberty at some point, like throughout the week? Were you kind of like on a, you're standing by to be put on patrols for 3-4 days, and then you have like a day stand down, and what was the routine like in any given like week?
Well, my first deployment, I went to that FA unit, and we were basically handling comms for the FA unit.
So you were on their schedule.
Yeah. And, well, our team was separate from them. We were in the same building as them, but running their comms from, like, a separate office.
Oh, okay.
And then I volunteered to get outside the wire and go with those guys, go with the FA guys, which is weird, having field artillery guys doing dismounted patrols. It's weird. But
so that's just ground pounding. You're just walking in a unit, and
yeah, we would basically one of the sergeants in charge. He was doing a lot of like human stuff, just like
human intel.
Yeah, like building relationships with locals and getting information. And so he had a lot of like informants who would like give him information, and then we would go execute based on the information we were given. Like, for instance, we would go and
look for caches,
look for weapons caches, and stuff like that, and then blow it up, which was
that's the artillery side.
Decently fun.
Yeah,
No, that actually wasn't the FA guys. That you have to call Air Force EOD and bring those guys in.
Oh, okay.
So you'd call them, you'd set up a 300-meter perimeter, and then they would come in and dress up the cache and
kind of get it all together so that you can.
Yeah, they put it all together. Man, we had like 2 of those big like oxygen tanks, and then I think we found 6 to 8 40-millimeter mortars, a couple like 60 millimeter mortars, a whole bunch of like rocket propellant. So it was just like a cylinder of propellant that went in like the end of a rocket, and then the det cord, the det plates, and everything. And we just put everything in a pile, and then Air Force EOD comes in, and they dress that shit up like a Thanksgiving Day turkey. Yeah. They're just slapping C4 on that thing.
Let's go.
And then hook up their primer, I think, to that, and then run it 300 meters down the road, and which really was not that far, because like I have like literally like a nick in my boot from that day when we blew, like they gave me, that was my first patrol with with those guys, and like my buddy Manuel Quintel, the guy that I went to high school with, like hands me the blasting cap. I think it was a blasting cap. It was like this like brown or OD green plastic cylinder that had like a key ring on the end of it, and you twisted and pulled, and you felt it snap. Like I felt it like pop in my hand. I felt like a hot pop in my hand, and that sent the signal.
It's probably just like a little primer charge that goes pop, and then
it just went boom.
Boom!
Man, it made a crater like basically the size of like the area we're in right now.
Oh wow!
About this big around, and then probably 6 feet deep.
Dude.
And we did it right in the middle of the orchard, so there was like 12 trees that were just, I don't know where they went.
They might have
disappeared.
Yeah, they might have just disintegrated.
They were completely gone. Like, it was a magic trick for sure.
Shit. How long were you there before you volunteered for this type of patrolling and shit? And how'd that work? Did they just come in the mess hall one day? Hey, we're looking for volunteers to do this.
No, I asked.
Okay.
I was like,
I want to do something.
I gotta get out of here, man.
Yeah.
So, I remember talking to, his name was Smoke Maynard. Smoke is an E7 in field artillery.
Oh, okay.
He's still a sergeant first class, but they are all referred to as like Smoke, and then whatever their last name is.
I love the military.
Yeah.
That's the way that shit works.
Yeah, Smoke Maynard that dude was a fucking savage.
Nice.
And then I talked to him and Sergeant August. He was an E6. Another really rad dude. And I was like, hey, like, take me with you. So.
And that's how that goes?
Yeah, within a few weeks, they had scheduled me for my first patrol. And
there you go. When you get some kind of like TAD orders or something like that, or is it just as quick as, yeah, you're going with them today?
100%. It's just like...
They just make it work.
Hey, like, because we still had a schedule for our comms operations. So we had a set schedule. So it just had to be on a day that I wasn't doing comms. And
shit.
And then...
Extracurriculars.
They're like, let's go.
Let's fucking
like,
go.
Sweet.
Now, did you ever regret... My dad had once told me this, because he was... it's a funny story, because my grandfather, his dad... there's some classy pops up there in the picture right behind you.
Okay.
That was young buck dad back in like the 70s or 80s maybe.
Casanova.
Oh yeah, dude. And I look exactly like him when I was his age. So
yeah,
that's just what I'm going to look like. Maybe a different hairstyle, but his dad, my grandfather, was in World War II in the Navy, and one of his jobs was like to shoot they down zeros, and then if the pilots were still alive at that point, they'd try to swim to the boat at some point. You're trying to, look for survivors and all that. And his job was to stand on the railing, and if there was any kind of threat from one of the POWs at that point, his job was to remove the threat at that point. And so he never really talked about it. Obviously, most of those guys didn't, but I learned all that stuff from my dad towards the end of his life. But when Vietnam kicked off, the draft was going, all that stuff, and my dad was prime age for it, and my grandfather was like, I'll be damned if I'm going to let you draft and go die in the jungle somewhere. So he went down to the Coast Guard recruiting office and signed my dad up for the Coast Guard. He's, you're going to be safe. You'll be in the military. At that point, Coast Guard wasn't under... Now they're under Department of Homeland Security, but they used to be under Department of Transportation. And then activated for the DOD during wartime. So they were technically in the DOD at that point. But signed him up for the Coast Guard, went off boot camp, did the whole thing, got stationed up in PA on the Winona, which the old ship's bell is still down in that park by the water.
Yeah.
And their very first cruise was over to Vietnam. And when he was over there, he wanted to go do something. And so some Navy guys came to the ship one day and asked for volunteers to go run swift boats up the rivers. And of course, my dad, being the dumbass he was, volunteered for that. And so when I joined the Coast Guard, the first thing he told me was never volunteer for anything because it's always going to be a bad idea. Did you ever regret volunteering for any of those patrols and going out with those guys? No?
Absolutely not.
Overall, good experience?
Yeah. Like, the good, the bad, the ugly, like, I wouldn't do anything differently. Nothing.
That's interesting.
Wouldn't do anything differently. Like, the experiences I had with the guys that I had them with, like, they're irreplaceable.
Yeah.
And there's just a bond that's never going to be broken. And,
You keep up with those guys?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all, like, still, like, friends on Facebook and stuff like that. And we, like, interact with each other's, like, posts and stuff like that. But I remember recently I put together, like, this was, like, during COVID. And, like, I'm home on, like, what was it called? Standby. I'm on standby to go back to work. So I'm, like, unemployment, making, like $900 a week.
Yeah. Unemployment bennies were pretty sweet.
Yeah. So I'm at home and I'm, like, trying to find things to do. And I ended up getting in touch with, like, some of, like, my core commo guys. And put together, like, a Zoom chat.
Nice.
And I think we had, like, man, it was, like, probably, like, 6 to 8 of us on a Zoom chat. And it was rad, like, seeing some of them that are, like, still in.
Yeah.
And people who I didn't think would still be in are still in. Shocking.
Does happen.
Yeah, it's weird. And then, and, like, how just everyone's thriving and doing their thing. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You get Christmas cards from any of them?
Nah.
No. I got a Christmas card from my old Coastie roommate. And he was one of them dudes he was a 4 and out guy. He was 1,000% going to do that. Well,
yeah.
He's going on. It's probably like 12, like close to 12 now, and he's a fucking officer.
Jeez.
Yeah, he was a mechanic, and then he had no interest in it whatsoever. He just liked working on engines, and now he's an engineering officer. I think he's an 03 now. Like, dude, never would have thought that in a million years.
Wow.
But yeah, he's a good dude. I always thought, he's married now, and I think they have kids. They have a kid, I think. But for the longest time, I always thought he was gay. It was very, very interesting. I'm very, very surprised by how that guy's life's turned out.
Jeez.
Shoutout Red. He's a good human.
Yeah.
I think I keep semi in touch with him, and then pretty close to one of my other best friends from when I first got in. But he lives out in New Hampshire now.
Yeah.
I was best man at their wedding. But other than that, I don't almost talk to anybody anymore that I served with at all for almost 10 years.
Dang.
It just kind of, everybody goes their separate ways and gets scattered to the wind.
Yeah.
I
think it might be, maybe it's just me, but I think it might be a little bit different when you're deployed and you're like in the shit with everybody.
Oh yeah.
Embracing the suck together,
Yeah. It's different.
A little bit different.
Yeah. It's something to be said about being stuck on a ship that's only 175 feet long for, weeks on end. But, and if you have any kind of emergencies and you're having to fight fires or flooding and stuff like that, shit gets kind of wild pretty quick. But it's not like walking in, past the wire into a fucking war zone where anybody from any window could be making pot shots at you and blowing shit up. And, you said the good, the bad, and the ugly. Did you have some ugly experiences?
My second tour had the more, like, ugly experiences. Just being in Solder City was a very, like, touch and go. There was a lot more, like full on, like, militia, like, perimeter attack type shit, and dealing with a lot of corruption. Dude, that was enough to keep me on edge at all times, because for my second tour, I volunteered to go with a transition team. So there's two type of transition teams. They were MITs and NIPITs.
Okay.
MITs are military transition teams. Those guys are training Iraqi Army and Iraqi National Police. Iraqi Army.
Mm-hmm.
Then the NIPITs are National Police transition teams. And you're basically... the Army put together these transition teams from, like, a unit. Like, these guys were from Big Red 1.
Okay.
And they all... There was, like... It was a very well-rounded unit. You had, like, special operations guys. You had a commo guy. You had, like a long rifleman. You had a medic. You had a team leader who was usually like a lieutenant colonel.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all they were like basically assigned somebody in this either National Police unit or in this Iraqi Army unit. So, like, the team leader, his counterpart was the general of the Iraqi Army.
So he's dealing with command structure stuff and
yes.
leadership and
like organizing missions and just all of that stuff. But dude, there was a lot of like money moving around and like a lot of like shady like payoff shit happening within the IA with the Iraqi Army. I didn't see it so much in the National Police, but when I was in Solder City, we were on a base called Cop Hope. It's a company-operated post.
Okay.
It was a Bravo company. I don't remember the battalion, but it's one company from 101st Mountain Division out of New York.
Okay.
101st. No.
101st.
10th Mountain. Sorry.
10th Mountain. I was like, 101st is usually the...
I deployed with 101st. My first deployment, I deployed with 101st, the Screaming Eagles. Second deployment, I was on Cop Hope with 10th Mountain Division.
Okay.
With just a company from them. And we didn't do anything with them. Our team was like 18 dudes, and we operated on our own. If I remember right, our team leader, like the only person he answered to was like whatever general or colonel was in charge of that AO. Like,
okay.
Not like that base. Like we were pretty like autonomous, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But Cop Hope was, we'll call it a football field.
Okay. Whew.
Yeah. And that football field was in the middle of a stadium. The stadium was the IA base.
Okay.
We were the football field. So our first line of defense was Iraqis in towers who were rarely there. They would sleep during the day.
Mm.
It was very, very sketchy. If there would be any like sketchy chatter going on about like a potential like perimeter attack or whatever, like if shit was feeling like it was going to go down, seeming like it was going to go down,
mm-hmm.
like towers would clear out, and we're just like left high and dry.
Yeah. And we've talked about that a lot on the regular show. It's just the culture over there and our culture, even just in the military sense or past that, are just not the same.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of stories about that kind of stuff. It's just they don't operate even somewhere close to the way our forces do over there. There's a totally different mindset and how things work, and
no,
it does not surprise me to hear that.
Dude, you can't, like, teaching them to do like jumping jacks or
I've seen some videos.
Shoot a rifle.
Yeah.
It was like next to impossible.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty disturbing videos of, in particular, like the PT stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard for us to comprehend.
Yeah.
But that just
because we've been doing it since
divide.
we were like 6.
Yeah. Since we're little kids.
Since we had a PE class, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's tough. And so that explains why you'd definitely be on edge, because if shit was to go down, you don't really have a first line of defense that you can count on.
Yeah.
So you guys are the first line of defense at that point.
And shit could have like never gone down.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still like being in that heightened sense of like kind of like a fear state, like a stressed state, is not good for anybody.
No.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, so just, it's basically, and my second tour was 15 months instead of 12 months. And my second tour, I didn't even get to go home until 10 or 11 months in.
Oh, wow.
Was my mid-tour leave. My mid-tour leave was supposed to be, I want to say 7 months in, something like that.
Oh, wow.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
And
yeah, more or less the midpoint.
yeah, and we were in Solder City, and I needed to get to BIOP, Baghdad International Airport,
Mm-hmm.
to on leave. But if I remember right, I needed to also get to my unit first.
That would kind of make sense. You gotta go check in your unit before you can actually get to go on leave.
So, yeah, that was an absolute shit show. Like, we couldn't get my, like, if I remember correctly, like, I couldn't get out of there because nobody could come get me to bring me to my unit to get the hell out of there, because no one was coming in or out at that point. And it took me like 2 months to get out of there to get to, where was my unit the second time? War Eagle.
Name of the base?
Yeah.
Ooh.
War Eagle was the second tour, where my base, my unit was. And God, I think, Jesus,
It's been a minute. We'll give you grace on
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so anyways, finally got to go home on mid-tour leave. Was home for, I think, 15 days. And then came back.
Did you have because you and Kristen weren't together by then.
No.
Did you have a significant other back home at all to see you, or were you just going to go hang out with family? And
I was divorced at that time, so I just went home, saw my family.
Hung out?
Some guys, like, traveled, like, went somewhere else in the world. Because you
yeah.
can go anywhere.
Yeah.
You could literally, like, fly anywhere for free for mid-tour leave. So
That's nice.
it's pretty rad.
Yeah.
But I just went home.
Came back to PA?
Yep. Came to PA, and then...
God, that's got to take, like, a couple days of travel.
Oh, dude, it's so long. It's like... It's a solid, like, 48... It's like... I want to say it's around 20 to 24 hours of flying. And then... Because you're going all over the place.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for so many things to happen. Like, especially when you're still, like, in country. You're like...
Yeah.
I got to get to my unit. Then I got to get to BIOP. Then I got to go from Baghdad International Airport to Kuwait. Then I got to go from Kuwait to wherever. Like I've flown from Kuwait to Shannon, Ireland. I've flown from Kuwait to Amsterdam to Iceland. Like just wherever
you're going,
connecting. Yeah. So like it's crazy to think that I've actually done that flight. It's so like you think about like being in the military, and you think about going like home on leave, like like I'm stationed here, I go home on leave, I drive, I fly, whatever, and I come back. I do that trip, you know, like
pretty straightforward
once a year, you know. It's like, and that's also what I did from Iraq. So you're flying to Iraq, that absurd route, and then you're coming back somewhere in the middle, and then you got to do it again to go back, and then it's time to come home, and you got to do it again.
It's so much traveling, dude.
It's so much traveling.
Globe hopping, dude. That's nuts.
It is nuts.
It is nuts.
I did buy 3 cohibas in Iceland.
Let's go.
Of all places. It was like $75, dude.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
It's ridiculous.
It's got to cost a lot of money.
Everything was so expensive in Iceland. So like,
it's Iceland.
Everything's
you know?
imported.
Yeah,
it was like being in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, gallon of milk, $15.
Yeah,
I've done that a couple times. All right, so we were talking a little bit about your Army experience, your brewing experience. We kind of been getting to know you a little bit. I'm assuming your second tour was where you gained the pink mist story that you were talking about. You told us like last week or 2 weeks from at the bar.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's where that was, and that kind of makes sense for what you've kind of painted that picture in, but we can maybe get into some more of those stories on another day because it'll be interesting. I think for this part, I really want to focus on, you did 2 tours in Iraq.
Yeah.
Essentially. A lot of guys come back from Iraq with problems.
Yeah.
Did you come back from Iraq with some problems? Or know guys that did?
I know plenty, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that I came back with problems I didn't really realize that I had, that have like affected like relationships in the past, and most importantly have like affected my most recent, which is like
going through now
the important relationship.
Yeah.
And things I didn't like, and that's not even necessarily a product of Iraq, honestly. Like the Army just kind of, I think the military like really fucks with you.
Yeah.
And especially like, I mean, I know everybody's basic is different, and some are harder than others, but
Where'd you go to basic?
Jackson.
Okay.
And so these, I would say the way it affected my relationship in a pretty bad way. My most recent one, like to the point where I went and like saw a therapist. Like it was being brought to my attention that I was like controlling all the conversations.
Oh yeah.
And like, and not on purpose. Like I'm just so used to like a conversation being like, you say something, I say something. That's we had a conversation about it, you know, like,
yeah,
I say
technically
something,
meets the qualifications.
Yeah.
I think
I say something, you say something. Like we don't need to elaborate anymore. We don't like I'm like even this many years later, like it's hard to not just have that all the information quick, like to the point, done. Like I don't want to talk anymore about it.
We're done.
I don't want to argue about it. Like it's covered. We're done.
How long has it been, by the way, since you got out?
2009. So
Okay.
14 years, which is crazy. I just like
doing the math.
said that last night.
Shit.
Like last night, I was like, man, I've been out for 14 years. Talking to Nate Berkey, like I was like, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Actually.
It's a minute. Yeah. So tell me more about this say cut and dry conversation stuff. Some of the things that you obviously weren't realizing it when it was happening.
Yeah.
Was it ever brought to your attention from your significant other? And then what was your reaction to that?
My reaction was definitely that I wasn't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
instantly defensive.
I was fucking delusional and
yeah.
being very defensive.
Crazy women.
Yeah. It's definitely not my fault.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was. But
usually is our fault.
Yeah, right.
That's how that goes.
And it just got to the point where, and it would be worse with drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like
most things are.
And I just really needed to like sit down with somebody and talk to them, and basically like, I don't even think like, not downplaying the therapist, like I think he did a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
But like it was just conversation, like, and he was just asking the right questions, and like, well, what about this, what about that, asking me about like the military and like how that might be affecting things and might have affected things.
Mm-hmm.
And I never even thought about the fact that I'm just so I was so used to this, like, just like I tell you what to do, or we have a conversation, you take the information,
quote unquote conversation.
Yeah. And that's it, you know? And it wasn't even so much that like I was definitely controlling the conversation, but like I was also controlling her, because like by controlling the conversation, like I'm not allowing her to like have a response, or her response is not okay in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it just shouldn't happen, you know? And like I don't know if I'll ever be cured of it, but I've definitely gotten a lot better about it.
Being able to identify it alone is a big step.
Yeah.
The first step there, once you can actually identify if you're starting to kind of like run a train on the conversation, or leave somebody with just a very narrow alley of what they can say at that point.
Yeah.
Being able to identify in that, and then you can usually fix it after that.
Yeah.
But that just requires more conversation.
Yeah.
And an actual back and forth, consistent, you know, and no defensiveness. When I went to therapy, I gained a really nice tool in my toolbox for all kind of relationship conversations, but primarily close ones. And that was always, I had a tendency to, when I would say something, it would come out more of a statement of, you know, this is the way it is. It's a statement of fact. And when I see you do this, this is what happens, or something like that. Versus my therapist taught me to start using the word feel.
I feel like this.
I feel like this is this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting the impression that this, and I mean, this is the way I'm perceiving things, and that way, whoever you're talking to at that point isn't automatically put on the defensive, because you're not making an affirmative statement of truth at that point, and that has really, really helped me.
Yeah.
And I use that all the time now.
Yep.
And it's in all sorts of conversations, and it's paid dividends. And it leaves me with a lot more wiggle room, and leaves the other person with a lot of room to move around. And just the overall productivity of those conversations has gone through the roof. And it's been instrumental.
Yeah, 100%.
In my life going forward now.
I'm in the same exact boat, like
Yeah.
to the T. Like in fact, that wasn't even something that came from therapy. That came from like our relationship, like my relationship with Crystal. Like, this is the longest relationship I've been in by far.
Yeah. How long is it going now?
5 years. Yeah,
it's a good clip.
Been fantastic.
It's good.
And the best, clearly the best relationship I've ever had, the healthiest relationship I've ever had. And
she's a good gal, man. I'm a big fan.
Me too.
I know we might be a little biased, but still, I think if I try to step back and look at things objectively, she's a good lady.
Yeah, she's definitely my rock for sure. She's so fucking solid, it's ridiculous. She's like, she keeps me grounded, and I'm like I'm much more like outgoing and outspoken than she is, which I think we kind of like balance each other out in that sense, that like I will like bust her out of her shell a little bit, and like maybe maybe if she's reluctant to do something, like even though she knows that once we go do it, she'll be like, okay, this is a good time. Yeah. This is a good time. Yeah. And then the end of the night, she's always like, I'm glad we did that. I'm glad we did that.
But you can't force her to do it. You need to try to get her to want to do it with backup. Yeah. You know, you got backup, man. I'm right here.
And literally sometimes I'll just be like, I feel like this is one of those situations where you're going to do it, and you're going to be like, okay, that was fun. And she's like, yeah, probably.
There you go. I think after enough time, too, it starts to build and build and build, and then there's just more and more comfortability with doing shit like that.
Yeah. Well, and on the flip side of that, she has, like, helped ground me a lot. Like, she has helped me. I would say it's not even necessarily she's helping me, but just being with her has kind of just made me want to, like, just be a better human and a better adult.
Yeah.
You know, like, just getting shit done, you know, saving money, and just being better at things.
Yeah.
You know,
that's I've been trying to, because, you know, I mean, you know my current situation and stuff I've been through lately, and there's been a lot of self-reflection that's been going on for a very long time now at this point.
Yeah.
And there's so many things you look back on that, you know, you can't help but look at yourself as like, well, I was a shitty person for X, Y reason, and this was why, and now I see that.
Yeah.
And it allows you to work better, to work on yourself more than anything else, but that in turn makes you a better partner and teammate. And that's really, I've come to realize that's really what it's about. You don't need to be the same. In fact, you have to be a little different, you know, because you both need to be each other's rock.
Yeah.
But that means somebody requires something from you and you require something from them, and then you both make each other better people.
Yeah.
And you should still always try to be a better person yourself, but you're only going to have a limited mind frame to do that in, because you can't think outside of your own head most of the time. You need that outside perspective.
Yeah, you need someone from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Like, who's giving you input on what you're doing and
exactly, and then
how you're doing it,
opening up new horizons, and you know, you look at things way differently at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really glad that you're in a position now to have that kind of relationship. That's very, very healthy.
Yeah. Me too.
Talk to me about your unhealthy or unsuccessful relationship. You said you were divorced at one point.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
We'll say, for the sake
as
of
vague
not
as you need
dragging anybody through the mud.
Yeah.
Just.
This is pre-Army?
We weren't.
During Army.
Like pre going into.
Okay.
Like, met pre-Army at a Bible study.
Okay.
And then got married after basic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then moved to Colorado together. And
How long did that go?
We were married October, and then when we were 19.
Woo!
And then divorced. The divorce decree was stamped official on my 21st birthday while I was in Iraq. So
it's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, it was like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So.
And I would assume there was no rock status in that relationship. No real teamwork. I would imagine you probably weren't around a lot.
No. We got married, and then I was immediately preparing to go to Iraq.
Yeah.
So a lot of FTXs, field training exercises. Mm-hmm. And then we went to NTC, the National Training Center in California, and trained in the desert for Iraq. I don't even know how fucking long we were gone. 2 weeks, a month, I don't know. And then came back and we deployed. So.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
There you go, man. And obviously, not the most healthy thing for a brand new relationship to not be around.
Not at all.
Especially if there's no real long-term build-up beforehand, no foundation to build off of.
Yeah. We only known each other for maybe a year.
Woo!
Maybe.
Well, I understand that. I did that once too, and it obviously didn't work out very well.
Touche.
Do you have any regrets about that?
I have regrets in the sense that it feels like I wasted somebody's time, you know. Like I don't like feeling like I wasted somebody's time.
Yeah.
Like anybody, like whether it's in a relationship or with a friend, you know.
Yeah.
Like it would be like me bailing on you today, you know. Like I would have wasted your time, and you would have been prepared and ready for everything to go, and then you're like, oh well,
yeah,
time wasted. I'm not
time
a fan
is the most valuable commodity we have, and we don't even know how much we have.
I know.
You got to utilize it.
Every last minute of it.
Oh, amen, brother.
But yeah, I would say that, and probably I think there's always room for improvement, and I probably could have been a better person, but you know, when it comes down to it, it just clearly wasn't meant to me. So.
Mm-hmm. Did you learn anything in particular from that, or just kind of a generalized, that was probably not the best move?
Generally, what I learned from that was to get to know somebody a little bit better.
Seems good.
You know?
Seems like a good...
Spend more than a year with them, you know? Because, in a year, you don't... it's such surface level shit, you know?
Yeah.
Even after a year. Even living together. You're not...
Especially that young, too.
Yeah.
Man. Because I got...
And we didn't live together. We were, this was a proper Christian marriage. This was we met in a Bible study.
Yeah.
We hung out at each other's places and then got married.
Yeah. And I'm assuming, don't feel like you need to talk about this because I'm going to get personal here real quick. I'm assuming there was, just based off the way you're talking about it, was there any intimacy of the sexual nature before marriage in that relationship?
Yes.
There was?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that's a big thing and for a lot of, more religious people. It's probably harder these days, but...
There was, resistance for quite a while, though.
From both of you?
Yeah.
Good. At least you were on the same page in that regard, but you
yeah.
can only fight biology so long, I think.
I know, right?
Yeah, and I've never been comfortable with... You need to have sexual compatibility.
Yeah.
You have to. You can't get into a lifelong spiritual and legal commitment without testing those waters, I don't think.
Yeah.
Much less, and then, living with somebody. There's so much you learn after multiple years with somebody that, they really start to level out as a person and, and being so fucking young too. That's just a you both are going to grow up, and God knows what direction you're going to grow up in.
Yeah.
Ideally, it's going to be the same way, but what are the fucking odds of that happening?
Yeah. I mean,
somebody's going to be repressing somebody, or
Yeah.
you both are to stay on this certain path. And I don't know if I would call that healthy, but, you know, I'm not really one to talk in that regard, I guess.
Yeah, and I honestly think, like, at 19, like, you're not done developing. Your brain's not done developing. You're, like, you have so many experiences that you're going to have that very well could change you.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, basic training completely changed me, like, and even my relationship with my family.
Yeah.
Like, growing up, I was a mama's boy, 100%. Like, as a kid, like, dad says no, go to mom.
Yeah.
Go crying to mom.
Yeah, mom will
Might straighten it out.
Yeah.
You know?
She'll hook you up a little bit.
She'll give me the Twinkie.
Yeah.
But, like, definite mama's boy growing up. And we were so tight when I was growing up. Like, so tight.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad and I were always kind of like, it was always tense between him and I shouldn't say it was always tense.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, fantastic father. Like, role model father. Like, he was like my assistant coach in baseball. He taught me everything I needed to know. Like, I got to help him work on cars, and he was a mechanic. My mom was an accountant. And,
very useful skill.
Yeah. And so, like, it's nice being able to, like, work on my own car and get shit done, or know what's going on with a vehicle, you know? And, but I was always, like, getting in trouble with my dad. You know, like, I was, like, he was a properly stern father, and a very good father. And we just didn't get along like me and my mom did. I was always, like, closer with her when it came to, like, the more, like, emotional side of things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
My dad's not, like, a super emotional guy. And I remember the day I graduated basic was the second time I ever saw my dad cry.
Mm.
Ugh.
That hit you?
It gets me every time.
Yeah.
But second time I ever saw my dad cry. First time I ever saw him cry was when when his twin brother left for Desert Storm.
Oof.
Yeah,
That'll do it.
that was rough.
Jeez.
Yeah, when my Uncle Mike left, he was devastated.
Yeah. Did Uncle Mike come back?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. And that is the day that mine and my dad's relationship completely changed. Like, I went from being like a kid who couldn't figure out what he wanted to do with his life to, in his eyes, I was a man now. And from then on, like, him and
This is you graduating basic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Since then, we've just been tight as can be.
I was going to ask you about your
my best
relationship
friend.
with your parents now.
And now, me and my mom, dude, it's so fucking tense. It's ridiculous. But we also have, like, this same, like, kind of, like, alpha, argumentative, like, I'm right, you're wrong kind of personality. Like, and, like, I will say it's worse with her, for sure. I will put that on record. But we all have a great relationship. Like, it just flipped, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I was
now,
going to say, it sounds like...
my dad and I are super tight. And I love, like, hanging out with him and still, like, working on cars. And,
How often do you see him?
I see them, I would say on average, by, like, once a month at this point.
We still have PA?
Yep,
Nice.
they're in Port Angeles. They have way too much, like, going on out there. Like, my dad's got health problems, and my mom is only able to handle so much on her own.
Yeah.
She's, like, 5'2" and tiny.
Oh, yeah. Are they retired now?
No, my dad is. My dad is SSI disability retired, and my mom is still working for a timber company.
Okay.
They're like I think they're the number one importer of timber from Canada or something like that.
Well, it is PA, man. They're still a timber town.
You heard of the Pished Tree Farm?
No.
Way out on the west end.
No.
It's
Pished,
like PYSCHT, something like that.
Yeah, no.
They own that, and they own hundreds and hundreds of acres of timberland.
I have to check their hunting access regulations, see what they got going on.
Oh, I can hook you up.
Because there's like Weyerhaeuser and Rainier own a bunch of land up there too, and
Yep.
both those companies are notoriously terrible to hunting access, which is I don't appreciate, but I have to check into Pished and see what's going on.
Yeah, we can get out there with my dad sometime.
Yee.
Yeah, we can do all the legwork, and while my dad hangs out.
Yeah, go get us a couple deer.
Yep.
That would not be a bad situation.
Yep, it's a rad land out there too. Very.
On the west side like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of deer.
I've only gone up there twice, and it's limited access, like I was saying, and it's been tough. But it's gorgeous out there, though.
Yeah.
It's like a whole different ballgame.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll get something going for next season.
100%.
Because I've been a couple seasons. I think I've missed 3 seasons now.
You gotta take me duck hunting too.
Can do. We have the technology and the equipment and the capability and the want.
Sweet.
Yeah. But side note too, we should probably go with Brock because he's also wanting to go too.
Yes.
He was showing me some stuff last week, and we got to get going. Go out there and freeze our cojones off and kill some birds.
Just fucking feet warmers, hand warmers. Just...
Oh yeah. Yeah, you need all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just everywhere on your body.
Yep.
And like 5 different layers. And even then, you're still going to freeze your balls off.
I've got a fucking gun bag full of warmers.
Let's
so we're
go.
good.
I just used a bunch of them up at that shoot I went on last weekend. Oh, that was terrible. But anyways. All right, so good relationship with the family still.
Yep.
And it doesn't surprise me that it flip-flopped. Because at one point, like your mom's little boy, and then you became, and then, so it was kind of like the roles reversed as soon as you became a man.
Yeah.
And now your dad's man, and your mom doesn't have her little boy anymore.
Yep.
So I could see how that could make sense. Now, I do... You say your dad's kind of got some health problems going on?
Yeah.
Is it a pretty big issue, or is it more like limited mobility and...
It's all the above. It's heart, back, knee.
Ooh. How old is he?
Knee less. He was born in 1962, 63, 62.
Oof. So, podcast math is notoriously terrible, so don't feel bad if you only get close. He's in his
63.
60s.
He was born in 63.
Okay.
January 3rd, 1963. So he's 60 years old.
There you go.
He's only 60. He's had multiple heart attacks.
Yeah.
He has like 4 to 6 stents. He just got a pacemaker defibrillator installed. It's like this giant like lump.
Yeah.
Like you could just physically
You can feel it. Yeah.
And yeah, it's been really rough.
Yeah. You spend much time
like
thinking
my
about
best friend, yeah.
that?
Oh yeah. I think about it for myself, and like I'm getting to the point where I'm like I want to like we've talked to my parents about the whole like carnivore shit, and my mom's just like, no way.
It's a tough sell.
She just I know, and she just thinks it's gonna kill him,
Mm-hmm.
Like, meat's bad for arteries, and fat's bad for arteries, and all this other shit.
They grew up in the era of the peak of food propaganda and the
the food pyramid was carbs at the bottom.
Yeah,
like
gotta eat all the bread, all the pasta.
Yeah,
and nowadays that's terrible for you.
Yeah, but like I'm at the point where it feels like they've tried everything, and nothing seems to be like improving his health. Yeah. So what would be so bad about like given a month or 2 on it, just to see what happens?
Yeah, at this point you've tried everything else.
If there's any improvement.
Yeah. I mean, even just something as small as like cutting carbs out. just working with everything else, but just cut carbs down.
Yeah.
That's a nice, easy step into, without going full carnivore.
Yeah.
That's a way easier thing. No sugars, no carbs. You could still eat like a fucking king like that. Real easy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can eat a king. You can eat like a king on carnivore. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than just
a steak.
Big, fatty fucking ribeye grilled to perfection.
Harvard just did I think it was Harvard, did like a 2,000 person case study, and everyone on carnivore, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think something like 95% of the people who were either pre-diabetic or diabetic were no longer, and or came off of their meds.
Oh yeah,
didn't need their meds anymore.
Yeah, that it happens a lot, man, because a lot of people don't realize when you're eating bread and carbs and stuff like that, it all breaks down into sugars anyways. And so get out any extra refined sugars and then cut back the carbs, and all of a sudden you may not have a sugar problem anymore.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. I've seen a couple people come back from, especially pre-diabetes real quick.
Yeah.
To the point they can even get off their statin drugs and shit like that because their blood pressure also levels out and everything looks good in the hood. It's pretty wild. Yeah, that might be a tactic to approach without going full carnivore. Maybe start weaning off the carbs and stuff like that. That might be a door into that world. That might be pretty nice.
Yeah, now he's taking this Ozempic shit.
He's on the Ozempics?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
He's just not eating. Not eating much at all.
Right? Oh yeah.
There's
a couple podcast guys I know that are on the Ozempics now and have been for the last 6 months, and they talk about what they go through. I don't know, man.
Lost a bunch of weight too.
Yeah, but it's a weird. I don't like.
It doesn't seem like a healthy weight loss.
It doesn't. I don't like
taking
how that goes.
Taking something that seems to be making your basically tricking your body into thinking that you're full.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem right.
You need to get nutrients.
Yeah.
You still need to get calories, man.
Oh yeah.
Yes, a calorie deficit means you're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
It's math.
It's
thermodynamics.
Yep.
You're losing weight.
That's right.
But doesn't mean it's healthy.
Exactly.
If you should be eating, I could probably eat 25 to 3,000 calories a day and maintain. But just because I could eat 3,000 calories a day and maintain doesn't mean I should eat 1,200 to lose weight.
Yeah.
Maybe go to 2,000. Still get the nutrients that you need.
Don't get it from Twinkies and Ho-Hos.
Exactly.
Get it from real food.
Yeah.
I've been working a lot with my mom on this because she's notorious for just eating crap all the time. I always give her a bunch of shit because she's never technically done it, but it's I had a chocolate cake and wine for breakfast. I'm that's not real food. You can't be doing that. She's never actually done that, but it's been borderline a couple times.
Jeez.
What are you doing, Mom? That's not real food. You got to have protein, and you need eggs, good source of protein, good source of nutrients. Fuck around with that. Cook up, slice up some leftover steak from last night. Maybe throw
There's no such thing as leftover steak.
Yeah, exactly. Not in our world. There's no way I'm letting this thing go till tomorrow.
No, I'll give the rest to my dog. If I happen to not finish one, but I've never.
Oh yeah.
Not finished a ribeye or a New York strip.
You ever get up to a Crabtree restaurant?
Yeah, multiple times.
You go up there and drop some dollars and get some a nice ribeye or a porterhouse?
No, not yet.
Oh, it's so worth it.
The only time we've never been there for dinner. We've always gone. In fact, I think every time we've been has been the day after, the morning after PBR.
Oh.
After the Paulsville Beer Run.
Go get breakfast?
Yep. We guys go get breakfast.
I don't think I've ever been there for breakfast.
Oh,
it's always a mark an occasion, go out for a really nice dinner somewhere. It's the best place around to do that. And if you go in and get steaks, your steaks and no drinks, minimum $200. But so it's a really nice to mark an occasion thing or something like that, or just have a blowout date night or something like that. And fuck, I remember taking, it was years ago, took the in-laws there just to kind of cap off their trip or something like that, and spent a bunch of money. But I was like, it was like an $85 porterhouse, and it was, I can't even tell you how many ounces, but it was an inhumanly amount of beef, and I refused to leave any of it on the plate. And it got to a point where, like, okay, it's officially too small to take home now. Yeah. So I can't even, like, slice it up for, like, steak and eggs in the morning or something like that. Can't do that. So I'm just have to finish it. And I didn't eat for 24 hours after that. It was just hanging out.
And what's awesome is, like, meat, it's all bioavailable.
Yep. It hangs out.
Your body
and you use
takes
it.
all of it. Dude.
That's right. It was fantastic.
Dude, if there's anything... One of my biggest... Crystal has far bigger takeaways from carnivore than I do, because, like, the whole, like, no... her allergies are gone.
Yeah.
And that's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Her, like, bug bites are small now. They're not big and obnoxious. Yeah. They don't get crazy.
It's supposed to be good for a lot of autoimmune issues.
Her immune system has improved significantly.
Nice.
Which I always say, I don't attribute it to meat. I attribute it to cutting shit out.
Yeah.
That was bad. And one of my biggest takeaways is, like, when you stuff your face with, like, a steak, it's not the same as if I, like, go to, like, the sauced food truck and I stuff my face with, like, lumpia and all this other shit, because I will eat that shit and I will feel like trash afterwards. I will feel really terribly full. But I can...
Painfully so.
Yes. And I can eat what should be a painful amount of steak, but I'm just full of steak.
Yeah.
Like, it's a proper satiation?
Satiation.
You are properly satiated. Like, you're just done eating.
Yeah.
And I don't have, like, this... Sure, like, I can feel that I had a lot of steak, but it doesn't feel terrible.
Yeah, you don't feel sick.
Exactly. Like, and I'm not, like, I don't have, like, a bunch of acid reflux from it, and... yeah, dude. It's
pretty... Do you ever fuck around with any other proteins, or is it pretty much just all beef at this point?
We've almost exclusively switched to beef, minus, like, weekends we'll do lunch, like, bacon and eggs. Like, and, well, I should say, also, we do, for lunches, we bulk cook ground beef. And we put like 3/4 of a pound-ish in our lunch, salted up, and then we have 2 hard-boiled eggs as well.
Perfect.
So
cut them up, or do you eat those separate? You cut them up and mix them in with the beef?
Well, that's a brilliant fucking idea, but I just peel them on the spot and dip them in my salt.
Oh yeah.
Just eat them. Also, Redmond's Real Salt. If you have not fucked with Redmond's Real Salt, you need to.
I've never even heard of this.
Order that shit on Amazon.
Okay.
I will order you one. Now that I have your address, I'll just have it sent to you. It is so... I ordered one for Matt, too.
Oh, nice.
Dude, everyone needs to experience Redmond's Real Salt.
Redmond's Real Salt.
Yep.
What's so good about this salt?
There's none of the, like, the iodines and any of that other shit, and there's no plastics. A lot of salts have plastics in them.
Yeah. Plastics are fucking everywhere, dude.
It's such high quality. Like, if you take your average, like, kosher table salt, dip an egg in it, take a bite, dip it in Redmond's Real Salt, you're like, I'm never going back.
That was, okay, so I had a similar experience with butter, with Kerrygold butter, compared to, and somebody was trying to sell me on the concept, and I can't remember who it was, but it was a very similar thing. They're like, just buy a fucking brick of it next time you're at the store. It's a little expensive, but just trust me. Just give it a shot, right? So I did, and I've never been able to go back to any other butter before. I mean, I've had like the ruled Amish butter and, you know, various versions of this or that, but nothing. Once you go full Kerrygold Irish butter, you'll never, no butter will ever taste the same again. It's wild shit.
I'm pretty sure I've had it, but I can't like remember like that experience. But
it goes great with the carnivore diet too.
Yeah, we cook in butter and Wagyu beef tallow.
Wagyu beef tallow.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's another Amazon find. You get like it looks like kind of like a Crisco container. Mm-hmm. It's like a cardboard, kind of squishy, and it's just Wagyu beef tallow.
Oh, shit.
We cook in that almost every day.
Man, one of my biggest goals through hunting is because for whatever reason, it's a whole nother fucking hour-long story probably just to explain why I have this passion. But I'm a big bear hunter. I'm into it because there's so much you can do with it. But you can't be getting one of these coastal bears that eats fish and shit because it's no surprise meat generally tastes like what they eat. So it has to be like a mountain bear or something like that where they're up there gorging on blueberries and eating meat and shit themselves. But a lot of bear hunters, they take the bear fat and they render it down to make bear grease. And that is, I mean, it goes back to, you know, the early settling of, you know, Westerners on this continent. Yeah. And it's supposed to be fantastic and one of the top cooking oils you can ever find. You can bake with it, you can cook with it. I mean, everything you can imagine. And I'm trying to get some of that because it's right up there essentially with beef tallow. Same type of stuff, but you make it yourself and it's fucking bear grease, man. Come on, how awesome does that sound? So on the topic of diet, switching over to carnivore, a lot of different perks. I'm sure there's been some drawbacks, but has it helped with? I've heard people talk about it helps with like their mental health with depression and anxiety and stuff like that. Talk to me about how that journey has affected you up top.
Energy levels are much better.
Nice.
Like I wake up in the morning more energized.
Even with your fucked up sleep.
Even with my fucked up sleep.
That's
and
nice.
Then I will say alcohol will severely affect that. So during the week when I'm not drinking as much or not drinking alcohol, it's just better. Anxiety has improved significantly. By improving, I mean like diminished
way down
a lot. Because I'll notice, like sometimes I'll just have like an anxiety attack, just like sitting really like watching a movie.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just sitting there and
a little sweating.
And I'm just like, what the, like, I've gone, because of my family history, my dad, like, I've been to the ER twice, like, not knowing I was having a panic attack, thinking I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah.
And
coming from a guy who has heart attacks, they are pretty similar until they're not. There's a big changeover, but it gets you, because it
scares the same thing out of you.
Oh yeah.
Scares the shit out of you.
Yep.
Like they gave me, the last time I went, they gave me nitro. Oh, never again. Oh my God. They were like, they wanted to rule out that it wasn't my heart. They were like, we don't, like, it seems like it's anxiety, but they gave me something for anxiety, and that didn't, it helped a little bit, but nothing went away. And they were like, well, we want to rule out your heart. And I was like, okay, so we're going to
give you
take
some nitro.
Small tab of nitro, put it under your tongue. She told me I was going to have a gnarly headache and it was going to be quick. No shit. Dude, she put that shit under my tongue. A minute later, my head was throbbing.
Because what does it do when you take nitro?
I think it's a blood thinner, isn't it?
Something
thins
like
out
that.
Your blood so that your shit's pumping better. Like, so your blood pressure goes down, right? I think.
Sure. Sounds about right.
All I know is that it's a blood thinner.
Yeah.
And wow, dude.
Man.
My head was just like, I could feel my head, like, you know, like sometimes you can feel your heart beating in your head a little bit, but this was like the whole dome, the whole thing.
You're
was
feeling
just going,
all the veins just.
And I was like, I don't like this at all.
Oh man!
And Crystal's sitting there, and I'm just like, nope, I don't like this. I don't like this.
Oh, how long did that last?
Probably
in real time. It probably lasted forever for you.
It felt like forever.
Yeah.
If I had probably like 10, 15 minutes.
That seems like a long fucking time.
Yeah, long fucking time to have a gnarly headache.
Yeah. You ever had migraines before?
I don't think.
Okay.
I've had migraines. Like Crystal's had like a migraine, and I know friends who've had migraines, and from what I hear from them, it doesn't seem like I've ever had a migraine.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I've had some pretty debilitating headaches, but I don't know if I crossed that threshold into migraine from one of my best friends. I think you've met a tall, lanky guy, looks like he could be my twin brother.
Yeah.
Named Jake.
Yep.
When he was a kid, I used to have him all the fucking time. And the horror stories I heard from that. Never been on that level, so I'm just going, no, it's just a bad headache.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But was that absolutely the worst headache you've ever had when you got nitro?
No.
No?
Nope.
There you go. Just different?
Very different.
Okay.
Worst headache was quitting caffeine. The day we switched to carnivore, we stopped drinking coffee.
Ooh.
Best decision ever.
Yeah?
And that is when I really realized that coffee is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it can be, for sure.
Alcohol's a problem, too.
Yeah. Caffeine's a drug just like anything else.
But, oh my God. In like the 48th hour, after just hard stop on caffeine. Just no more caffeine. And we went from like...
No wind down period.
No, not at all. We just went cold turkey straight up. And I used to make every Monday through Friday, and then sometimes on the weekends. Monday through Friday, I would always get up. I would make a French press of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a 32-ounce French press. So we're drinking 2 cups each at 16 ounces each. So 2 full cups of coffee every day for years. Then we just quit. And in the 48th hour, I had this one, so the nitro headache was just like, it felt like so much pressure just pushing out. It was a weird experience headache, and I hated it. I don't like drugs. I don't like the way drugs make me feel. I don't like the way like Vicodin, Oxy, any of that shit makes me feel.
Yeah.
I don't have an addictive personality. I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
Percocet, hate it.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about the nitro. It's not crazy amounts of pain, but I don't like it. It makes me feel like shit.
Makes sense.
The one from quitting caffeine, that hurt like hell.
It's like somebody in your head trying to stab out.
Bad. It was like the right side of my head, and it was making me like close my eyes, and I kept like tilting my head, and I'm just like, oh my God, this hurts so bad.
Man.
And it happened at night, and I needed to go to bed, and I immediately thought, dude, man, if I made some coffee right now, I know this would go away.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, nope.
That's an addiction.
This is a problem.
Yep. Yeah, our entire last episode we did with our buddy Brian, we almost exclusively talked about addiction for most of the show at that point. And that was one of the things we brought up is caffeine is just about anyone else.
Yep.
I've essentially cut out I used to drink energy drinks a lot for a very long time. And I finally kicked those out months and months ago now, and I haven't touched a single one since. But it does interest me that even with just like a French press coffee is no joke though. That's not drip coffee. You're getting a full throttle dose. That's some pretty heavy shit. But I've gotten to the point now where I used to drink coffee, especially back when I was on the ships, from the minute I woke up to the minute I went to bed. Mind you, that was regular drip coffee, so mild-ish, but still. And then by the time let's say I've got off on a weekend, and say if I didn't have coffee, for some reason I wasn't having coffee at my house on the weekends.
Yeah.
By Sunday morning, I had to get coffee in my system because that headache would kick in. But I've slowly tapered back now, where I think 2 cups of coffee throughout the day. I have 1 in the morning, and I make it with instant coffee now. It's just the way I roll. And then at work we have a espresso machine, and one of the boss's sisters makes a bunch of people coffee in the morning. So I have a nice iced latte a few hours into the day, and that's it. But now I don't have coffee or caffeine withdrawals anymore. If I go 3-4 days sometimes without drinking coffee, like, I don't get the headaches I used to get. But man, they used to be severe.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, but I was able to just kind of get myself out of that cycle, I think, and trick my body into not being so reliant on it.
Yeah.
But I don't get perked up by coffee very much anymore, which kind of sucks. But it's kind of like beer for me. I really like the taste of coffee. It would suck if I had to give it up.
Oh, I love the taste of coffee.
It's so fucking good. And I just started, for some reason, putting cream in my coffee again. I was solely a black coffee drinker for a very long time, and I still love it. But a little bit of cream now, sometimes in the morning, might as well be dessert first thing in the morning, baby. Let's go. And it's a good thing if you're trying to eat healthy, low-carb stuff, because a little bit of fat like that, it's not bad for you.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not fucking up your system with a bunch of carbs throughout the day.
Yep.
Cheers to beer.
Cheers. Yeah, I've had I think been carnivore like somewhere around 9 to 10 months. And
I remember I knew you when you made the switch, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did. And coffee, same amount of time. In that amount of time, I've had coffee twice. Mm-hmm. One time, I had a pretty wicked hangover and didn't get a lot of sleep. We went to bed late, and we were taking the ferry somewhere.
This is that notorious homebrew day?
No, that was a road soda day. That was
there you go.
Yeah, my first experience with that. Woo! But
sometimes you just need a nice tall boy micheladas to start the day, you know?
Yeah, or a tropic chronic. Yeah,
so... Oh, I cannot hair the dog with a tropic chronic, dude. That would wreck me.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, carry on.
Well, we stopped at that latte on the way or whatever, and I even made it a point to get like a single shot something. I don't even remember what it was, like an Irish cream mocha. I don't know.
Get some frou-frou in there.
Yep, 100%. And by the time we got to the ferry, I'd only had half of my drink, and I had so much anxiety.
Man.
By the time we got to the ferry, we're on the ferry, and I'm so uncomfortable, just feeling my heart racing.
Oh, man.
And I was like, I hate this.
Yep.
I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And then the other time was decaf. Just coming back from Port Angeles, we had like hung out with friends, and I had like a birthday party or something like that, and we're coming back home that night, and I was feeling sleepy, so I just got some decaf because I knew that like drinking something hot and with like minimal it has like almost no caffeine, but just the act of drinking something hot, I knew was going to help me stay awake. That didn't affect me at all, but that's the only 2 times I've had coffee in the last almost year.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the world of decaf. That's like a real life thing. You can get decent coffee that doesn't fuck you up like crazy.
Yeah,
that's
and
nice.
That's also one of those things where like if you switch to decaf, it's also when you know it's like a habit. You're like
it's like going to non-alc beers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like yeah. I'm trying to figure out when I'm gonna do my next sober 30 days, and I might cut out coffee that time too, just to figure that out. I like to do a sober 30 days once a year, kind of remind myself that it's all good in the hood. You drink beer because you like it, not because you need it or anything like that.
You do dry January?
That's a little too early. I can't handle
sober
that.
October?
That's where it started. It started was a sober October thing, and that was fine.
I mean,
last year I did it.
I'll commit to doing it with you if you...
Okay, well, let's pick a different we got to pick the right month because there needs to be few fun occasions.
Yes.
You know, I fucked up last year and I did it on like in the middle of my birthday month. I was like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So even on my birthday, I was like, went out to dinner and stuff, went out to lunch, and I was up in Port Townsend, great place, good restaurants, you know, lots of good beer up there that I didn't have, and it was not the best time to do that for me, but hey, probably good to have struggles during those 30 days, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, we'll talk about it. I'll look at the calendar and see what month looks good. I gotta wait till.
Can't be March.
No. What's
That's
it?
Paul's will be run.
True.
February, it's my birthday.
It's in March?
Yeah, they do March and October.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's St. Patty's and
That's
Oktoberfest.
That explains the St. Patty's Day.
So we can't be a
glasses
sober
that I got.
October.
That's right.
It can't be March.
Okay.
It can't be February.
No.
April is Crystal's birthday.
Okay.
So we're looking at May.
In May, that's when that's when camping season kicks off. I don't know,
Oh,
man.
man.
That's gonna be tough. It might be sober October.
January? No,
Yeah.
October is the Oktoberfest.
Oh shit. We'll figure it out. We'll find 30 days in there
I
somewhere.
love this is
even
this
if we
is
have to
a
split
problem.
2 months.
Like you can't like when we're like we can't even pick a month.
There's 12 of them, bro.
There's not
we can't do it.
There's every month has a reason to drink, dude. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's
Except for January. Honestly, dry January, I can't think of a.
the only reason I don't want to do January right now is because I'm going to be doing a bunch of caretaking for Mom after surgery. And I'm like,
You're gonna need alcohol.
there's going to be a few beers taken in at that point, I think.
Let me get one of those bikes, Mom.
Ooh, yeah. I'm on the same page, though, as you with those things.
Yeah.
I don't like the way they
Can't
make me
do it.
feel at all, man. Even after my wisdom teeth pulled out at one point by a fucking military doctor, so it was not gentle. And they gave me, I think, Percocets. And I was like, well, how much Motrin can I take? Because I'd rather take Motrin because it's not a narcotic. I was like, because I'm going to stick with the Motrin unless I absolutely need it. And then I might think about doing a perk. But with the whole time, I was in fucking excruciating pain for 2 days. Just rolled with Motrin just to keep swelling down or whatever. And then it was fine. Made it through without that. I just hate the way they make you feel, man.
Mm-hmm.
That lethargic. Yeah, it's not good. I understand how some people can like them, but I'm not into that world. I don't like being on narcotics. It's a weird deal. I like smoking weed. That's a different thing altogether. Yeah. But it's not the same type of... I don't know, you just feel numb and dead to the world, and I don't enjoy that.
Yeah.
I'm into things that accentuate the world. I like the world. Life is good, bro.
Yeah.
That's, which is weird because alcohol is also a depressant, but, I don't get that.
It's also really weird because, it's a depressant, but it also raises your heart rate.
Uh-huh.
And every time I have a beer when I'm tired, it raises my heart rate. And I'm like, hey,
let's go.
Let's watch a movie.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah, dude. It's so fucking weird. Man. Well, what else should we talk about here? I wonder. I feel like we had a very good initial sit down.
Yeah.
And obviously we have so much more to talk about, I think.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy sitting down?
Absolutely.
Chit-chatting?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll, next time we find a time to do this, we'll fucking sit down and hammer out another one.
Let's go for it.
Let's go, buddy. Well, thanks for coming in, Ty.
Anytime.
Always a pleasure. I'm so glad you finally got to experience
Me
a
too.
little bit of the studio
This
here.
little man cave is pretty fantastic.
It's my happy place, bro. I spend a lot of time in here.
I like it.
I have a living room that I don't ever use because I have everything I need here. I go from my studio to my bedroom, and that's about it.
Dang.
It's a good spot.
You just hang out here and watch movies, TV, whatever?
Well, usually, I got 2 screens, obviously, so I'll put a movie or show on one, and then I'll just be using them editing or writing or doing something or even painting. I don't have any of my painting shit out other than my box and easel here, but, do a lot of that kind of stuff, and it's all done in here. This is just where I'm at all the time. I put music in here, just fucking vibe out, hang out with the dogs. They got their little bed over here. They're all curled up, just chilling.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just now noticed that.
Yeah, I'll put that just for you, buddy.
That's dope.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again for coming out, buddy. And for everybody out there, I'm going to have to go back and find out what Donovan's awesome words for last time. But it was something along the lines of be strong, be brave, be courageous, live your life to the fullest. And if you ever find yourself in a place where you need to reach out to talk to somebody, you have a bigger support system than you know you do. Until then, we'll see you next time.